Well, good evening, internets. It's time for me to switch to a camera that's actually working the way I expect it to work. So, welcome to this edition of BOOKWARD BOUND, my nightly journey from I should really do this to done. And what is that done? That done is the publishing of a brand new book via Kindle's direct, it's called Kindle Direct Publishing, or let me say it this way, Amazon's Kindle Direct Publishing platform. Blah, blah, blah. And what is the whole 301 days thing? Well, it started March 5th, Friday, March 5th of 2020, 2 days after I got back from Social Media Marketing World, where I was inspired by a whole lot of things, but one of the things that really got me was the combination of live streaming, which I had learned about the previous year and started dabbling with. But then I heard a story at Social Media Marketing World from my friend Todd Austin from Fletch Digital in Sydney, Australia, about a friend of his named Christian Small, who is a golf pro. And he set himself out to try to qualify to participate in the Australian Open, the PGA Tour, one of the very big tournaments. And as a golf pro, he wanted to see if he could qualify. And in order to do so, he knew he needed to work on his game. And for 191 days, he did nightly or daily live streaming of his journey, working on every aspect of his game in front of the camera. And he invited people along to watch him as he tried to go and see if he could qualify. Spoiler alert, he didn't qualify. But in the meantime, he developed a following that was amazing. So much so that one of the people watching his journey sent him a check for $10,000 and asked him to donate it to the charity of his choice. And guess what? Another person said, I don't have $10,000, but I have $2,000. Can you do the same thing? Donate it to the charity of his choice. I heard that story and I was kind of blown away by it. And I don't know why my brain put it together this way, but it did. When I got back from San Diego, I was sitting around going, God, I got to do this live streaming thing. And I have to do it on a regular basis. So how am I going to do that? And then I remembered the Christian Small story. And then I thought, well, what could I do that would take? No, then there was one other thing. My friend Melanie Diesel had a new book that came out just before Social Media Marketing World, so she was giving it away or giving it to people, selling it, speaking about it, and all that stuff. And I was like, God, I need to have a new book. And then I thought, wait a minute, I could have a new book. I could do the daily live stream thing, and instead of 191 days, I looked up on Friday, March 5th, 2020, and found out there were 301 days left in the year of 2020. And that's where the 301 came from. Why? Because the next day, January 1st of 2021, I'm going to have press-ready PDF files ready for uploading to Amazon's Kindle Direct Publishing platform so I can publish a new book to have for Social Media Marketing World 2021. In fact, I want to recreate the selfie that Melanie and I took with her book. That was a recreation of the one we took with my first book in 2018. So that would be really, really cool. Anyway, long story. Bottom line is, I got to write this darn book, and I need your help to do it. So that's why I'm doing it live in real time right now. So what am I doing tonight? Darn good question. Actually, I know exactly what I'm doing. So let's head on over to Scrivener, the application I'm using to actually write this book. And this is what Scrivener looks like. You write over here in the main window, and then you've got all your sections and chapters, whatever you want to call them, over here. You'll notice on this page, it says pull quote, Jay Baer on branding his business from NFB podcast, the NFB Nonfiction Brand podcast. Well, Jay Baer is actually, I'm going to be editing his episodes this weekend, episode 99 of the Nonfiction Brand podcast. And as I recall talking with Jay, He had some really clear thoughts about why he was branding his business the way he did, especially when it comes to what I call the you, yourself, or your company question, which is, should I be branding myself, personal branding, or should I be branding my business, the business, traditional business branding, stuff like that. And we talked about that. And so in this section of the book, I want to grab an extended quote from his verbatim conversation during the podcast. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to hide that, and I'm going to open up a new GarageBand session, because I edit. Generally, I use GarageBand, although I've been messing around with Audacity because I do deal with some clients who are PC-based, and Audacity is both a Mac, has Mac versions and PC versions and Linux versions as well. So this is an old episode, so I'm getting rid of all that stuff. I need to go in here, make sure my track automation is all gone too, so that doesn't mess with anything. Whoops, I didn't want to do that, but I do want to do that. I want to get rid of that. Come on, baby. I guess I'd have to do it one track at a time. Need to get rid of those. Don't want to get rid of the whole track, darn it. I just want to get rid of this automation that messes the track up, because I want everything at 0 right there. At what is called Unity, I think. It's always impossible to get it exactly at 0. That's one of the things I dislike about it. But anyway, enough griping. And what I'm going to do is go to the Jay Baer session of when we recorded and grab me and put me in track 1. And then take Jay and put him in track 2, making sure that we are completely synced up. There we go. You can see. All right, sometimes it takes a little bit of time. All right, so I need to go to preferences, audio MIDI, external output, system setting. How about that? System setting, system setting. All right.
No worries. Love the background too. Love the guitar.
There we go. All right. So what I want to do is I want to find the sections where Jay is talking about this specific issue, because I'm going to transcribe exactly what he said. So I'm just gonna bop around a little bit
Consecutively since and then if the association and its investigatory body, D1 living members of the Hall of Fame convert, and that's why it's not called Jay Baer. Most organizations, most professional service firms, consultancies, etc., led by a CEO or a founder like myself, the things that they talk about are the things that they consult about. And that who handles the social media and sort of like a spreadsheet, it's partially driven by what do you think you might want to do, conversion rate optimization consultancy. Show, not dissimilar from Standing Ovation, where I interview from the Speaking Hall of Fame.
Hey, nonfiction. Oh, shut up, David.
Almost everybody in that body is that most likely to be a game show host. I probably would.
Of Indianapolis, it's north.
You can get a GoToMeeting account, see clients, do some extra things from Flagstaff, Arizona, actually, which was a beautiful for presentations and such. Look, DP, here's the thing, man. The most important word in personal branding is not yes, it is no. The worst way to go about personal branding is to do too many things just okay, right? Pick the one or two social networks that you like, be great at those. Don't be afraid to tell clients or collaborators no if it's not perfect for you. Don't have patience. You say yes more often than
him. And if you can ever see him speak,
Jay Baer
is the idea that and I've been watching what is the National Speaker Association. All right, so we just keep going on.
Fantastic.
All right, so that's the end of the first episode.
Jay Baer.
And we'll be talking at you next week. Bye-bye. All right, so we just keep. Okay, so that'll be, I'm just cutting this into two sections because this will be, in fact, the second episode right there. But I want to get where he's talking about branding. Importantly, why I should join.
You know, when I first lift each other up, it truly is my best friends in the speaking business. So you, having come from politics, my original career, saw the difference. A lot of people, or information or speaker, also recently of those people will then help me. I tend to weaken my own personal brand by not topic over 20 years. My problem is that I'm interested in so many things that I tend to.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think being consistent, right? That's the challenge that a lot of people have, and I continue to struggle with this, is consistency of application. My problem is that I'm interested in so many things.
My problem is I'm interested in.
Right,
so I'm gonna do a little trim there.
My problem is that I'm interested in so many things that I tend to. I tend to weaken my own personal brand because they pick a topic and they write 11 books about that topic over 20 years. It was because I wanted meeting planners to give a presentation, a link to a website, and you can go there now if you want. Thread the needle between vibrancy and the reason I started the suit thing originally, before even was a big part of it in a giant room full of people. So story to one another, and when they call
for themselves, Jay just said, "I'm going to be wearing a plaid suit." And
absolutely. I'm going to give you a little rant on talk triggers here for a second, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
Here's why that's true for itself. The reality is that's not how people actually behave. They paid me to do. Operational choice is to always wear a plaid suit. Two principals, an associate, front desk works like this. Organization, so that somebody will get back. I tell a story about that. Hell yeah. The choice to stand out. Then you should mention this just because it's relevant, okay? It would be weird if I didn't have a talk trigger for a book. We will do it. We have so far, I'm not really sure what you wanted there. They're usually a problem. I said, have you met this other guy? Because it feels like you guys could have a great conversation about this book, and bought him one as well. So I make your listeners the same offer. Please, if you want to get a copy of the book, if you don't like it, no risk to you. I'll have caricature, right? I don't want to be like, pick my suit. I get off stage, I just get with the suit thing, right? That I'm always wearing the plaid suit when I'm in public, because I know that they are inherently or inspiration or information business. Probably a good read for this audience. My friend Rory Vaden, who is a spectacular speaker, and I think that is particularly best friends in the speaking business are he once said, the whole role of the association, but it really is like that, generally speaking. Obviously, there's always outliers since the beginning. So we started in 2008, and I've been work from home and virtual since then. And I got to tell you, in 2008, 2009, 2010, my dad was loquacious. My mom in high school until very beginning of the microphone, but I never. And not only will we work from home and virtual, we wouldn't go see clients. The world ended up coming our direction, especially now, with give people what they want, and I live here for a reason. I moved here. If I was in the middle, I moved from Arizona to the Indianapolis airport, and I can drive the U.S. or used to for presentations and such. Look, DP, here's the thing, man. The most important word in personal branding is not perfect for you. Important word in personal branding is not. Oh, absolutely. I travel quite a bit outside the U.S. or used to for presentations and such. Look, DP, here's the thing, man. The most important word in personal. Look, DP, here's the thing, man. The most important, right? It took me 30 years to become an overnight success. And when you don't have patience, you say yes more often. Term it may be, but in the long term, I'm able to say, look, I know what I am and what I'm not, and I'm going to stick inside that box, even if it was a little bit of a struggle, not from a business standpoint, in my firm since the beginnings. People are always surprised by that. I guess, and we have been all virtual in my
since 1994, including Kentucky. It is pretty much due west of Cincinnati. In other words, and I'm asking for my audience here, if you are not in one of the global media centers like New York, Chicago, LA, Seattle, Portland, even.
People are always surprised by that. I guess our rule was, we stuck to our guns, and the remains the same. We rarely see clients, but in a way that, and I live here for a reason. I moved here 10 years ago, almost don't have it.
Oh my God, you're speaking my language, which is, one of the drinking games we play on the show is whenever I say know who you are so you can be it, you have to drink. So you clearly.
Yeah, my dad was loquacious, my mom for sure, because it very much sets me apart. I'm 25, 26, that kind of thing.
Where is it?
So I was never scared of talking or of the microphone, but I never thought it could be a business before then. So I started this blog in 2008 and started writing a bunch of blog posts. I wrote one every day.
No.
Yeah, but to tell you, I maybe I've never told this story. Maybe I have. I don't know. Probably not. It's usually not relevant, but I think you'll appreciate it because of the nature of your show. You know why it's called Convince and Convert?
Why?
Because when I started the company in 2008, I had sold a previous firm, eliminate the option.
Well, that's an excellent point, because if you paint yourself into a corner, it's really hard to get.
Well, you got to change the name.
Corner.
You got to change the name, its account or both, and had to go through that whole the same degree of consistency or velocity that I do. But there's 5 other people on my team who are out there on the speaking circuit at some level, and so they've all kind of work in the same trap line that I'm working right
about. Because
I look at it as a service line, right? So you can buy Convince and Convert without buying Jay Baer, and
here we go. Because otherwise,
I look at it as a service line, right?
This is it. All right, so I need to get Scrivener over here. And quote, I look at it as a service line. You can get, convince, and convert.
I look at it as a service line, right? So you can
service line, right? You can get convince.
You can buy Convince and Convert without buying.
You can buy Convince and Convert without buying Jay Baer.
Without buying Jay Baer, and you can buy Jay Baer without buying Convince and Convert.
You can buy Jay Baer without convince and convert. All right, so I need to look up and see if they use ampersand. Convince and convert. Yeah, I'm going to use an ampersand. Convince and convert without buying Jay Baer, and you can buy Jay Baer without convince and convert.
So the same way that you would think.
The same way that.
So the same way that you would think about any kind of product or service is
That you would think about any product or service.
Is sort of how we think about it, and in some cases you
Is sort of how we think about it. In certain cases,
how we think about it, and in some cases you can buy them together.
And in some cases, you can buy them together.
In cases you can buy them together, depending on the circumstances.
Depending on the circumstances.
So the other thing that's true in my world.
The other thing that's true in my world.
In my world, is that our strategy team at Convince and Convert, who does.
Is that our strategy team at Convince and Convert
Convince and Convert, who does all the work that we do for.
Who does all the work that we do.
Strategy team at Convince and Convert, who does all the work that we do for big companies.
Do for big companies.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them also.
5 of them also
speak professionally.
Also speak professionally.
Not with the same degree of consistency or velocity. Your velocity that I do, but there's 5 other people on my team who are out there on the speaking circuit at.
Who are out there on the circuit speaking.
On the speaking circuit at some level.
At some level.
And so they've all kind of work in the same trap line that I'm working, right? So we have Convince and Convert, which is the thing we work on.
So we have Convince and Convert.
Speaking circuit at some level. And so they've all kind of work in the same trap line that I'm working, right? So we have Convince and Convert, which is the thing we work on together.
Which is the thing we work on together.
And they have their own personal brands.
And they have their own personal brands.
As well, and their own websites and their own marketing programs for their own career. So it's an interesting
it's an interesting
program, and sometimes it does get a little bit confusing, even for me to keep it straight in my own head. In fact, program, and sometimes it does get a little
program, and sometimes it does get a little confusing, even for me.
Get a little bit confusing, even for me to keep it straight in my own head. In fact, it's funny we're having this conversation today. I literally had a meeting earlier this afternoon. I literally had a meeting earlier this afternoon with our community.
Earlier this afternoon with our community.
This afternoon with our community manager. Who handles the social media and sort of the hype for.
Who handles the social media. Who handles the social media?
Community manager. Who handles the social media and sort of the hype for the company and for me.
Of the hype for the company and for me. Company and for me.
And for me. And we kind of went through a whole new social media plan about what we're going to post on what days and what channels. And then the question is, okay, does this go on the Convince and Convert Instagram account or the Jay Baer Instagram account or both? And had to go through that whole thing, right, in fine tooth comb, like literally a spreadsheet to kind of keep it straight. And what I'm trying to do is avoid confusing people. I don't know if I have been very successful in that. Media plan about what we're our community manager who handles the social media and sort of the hype for the company and for me. And we kind of went through a whole new social media plan.
Went through
media and sort of the hype for the company and for me. and we kind of went through a whole new social
kind went through, and we kind of went through, and
for the company and for me, and we kind of went through a whole new social media plan.
Through a whole new social media plan.
For media plan, what we're going to post on what days and what channel.
About what we're going to post on what days.
For media plan, about what we're going to post on what days and what channel.
What days? On what channel?
Channels. And then the question is, okay, does this
channels? And then the question is this for?
Then the question is, okay, does this go on that can?
Does this go on?
Question is, okay, does this go on the convince and convert Instagram account or the
convince and convert Instagram account or
Instagram account or the Jay Baer Instagram account or both, and had to go through that.
Or the Jay Baer account or both.
Or the Jay Baer Instagram account or both, and had to go through that whole thing, right? And fine tune.
Had to go through that whole thing and fine tooth comb it.
Right? And fine tooth comb, like in literally a spreadsheet.
Like literally a spread sheet.
Comb, like in literally a spreadsheet, to kind of keep it straight and
to kind of keep it straight.
And what I'm trying to do is avoid confusing people.
What I'm trying to do is avoid confusing people.
I don't know if I have been very successful in that, and also it tends to vacillate back and forth how much I emphasize the company versus myself. And as you said, I don't think there's a right answer here. It's partially driven by what do you think you might want to do in the future. As you said, you knew you didn't want to build a thing to sell, and so putting your name on it was not going to inhibit your flexibility at any point.
You knew you were not going to build a thing to sell. So putting your name on it wouldn't
build a thing to sell, and so it's partially driven by what do you think you might want to do in the future. As you said, you
you said, comma,
you think you might want to do in the future. As you said, you knew you didn't want to build a...
You knew you didn't want
You said you knew you didn't want to build a thing to sell. And so putting your... and so putting your name on it was not going to...
was not going to inhibit
Putting your name on it was not going to inhibit your flexibility at any point.
your flexibility at any point.
Flexibility at any point. Whereas because I've sold an agency before,
Whereas
your flexibility at any point. Whereas because I've sold an agency,
because I've sold an agency,
whereas because I've sold an agency before,
my something.
my thesis is build it so...
My thesis is build it.
My thesis is build it so you can sell it even if...
So you can sell it even if...
Sell it even if you don't think you want to sell it because...
If you don't think you want to sell it.
You don't think you want to sell it because why eliminate the option?
Cause why eliminate the option? Oh, that's a rather long pull quote. Longer than I thought it would be. But I'm going to edit some of this out. Baer. Fiction Brand Podcast number 99. All right, so I'm going to have to go through this and edit it. I'm going to mark the whole thing. I'm going to highlight the whole section, and I'm going to leave it there. Yeah. I think I'm going to leave it there for tonight. So that's good. Good. Added a whole bunch of words, a boatload of words. Let's see how many. That's 312 words right there, just that quote. So I'm going to cut it in half for sure. But I've got them in there. I've got the words in there. And that's good. So I'm cool with that. I'm good with that for tonight because, again, this is not about me busting my gut trying to get this thing done in 2 weeks. It's about me trying to keep it going, keep this marathon going. Every night is a mini sprint. And then all those mini sprints are being stitched together to create a marathon that will end on December 31st, 2020. And then start again on January 1st, 2021, as I upload the press-ready files for publication. Yay. So That's it for me tonight. Don't have much more to say. Want to thank you for helping make me come down here and work on this. And also, I'd like to remind you that the Nonfiction Brand podcast that came out this past Monday features Leah Bach, who is a realtor from Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, who is really fun. We had a great conversation, and I really enjoyed meeting her. And I think you'll enjoy meeting her, too. So check out the Nonfiction Brand podcast wherever you get your podcasts for free, places like Amazon, like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Overcast. Just search Nonfiction Brand. If they bring up that cover art, you'll see my pretty face, and you'll know you're at the right place. So, and by the way, if you like the podcast, please like, subscribe, refer it to other people, but most of all, review it wherever you get your podcast, because that will help other people find the podcast. That's it for me tonight. I want to say thank you very, very much for helping me out, and I will see you tomorrow. Until then, theme music, take us on out. I'll see you next time.